So this morning, I'm going to be talking about dealing with your boss's expectations. Our Lifeway series, as we continue, today I'll be talking about dealing with your boss's expectations. I'm sure this is one area a lot of people have challenges. Statistics shows that I think about between 73 to 75% of employees who resign from their jobs or who leave their organizations actually leave because of their managers. So there's this popular saying that people don't leave their jobs, they leave their managers. And you also find out that people who work with managers and feel very comfortable with their managers are likely to want to remain in that organization. So let me flip it. If you have an artisan who works with you and doesn't always meet your expectation, the chances are that you will not likely go back to that person again. Right? So meeting expectations is also very, very important when it comes to dealing with your bosses. And it doesn't have to be only in the corporate environment or anywhere. It can even be in church. It can be with your HOD. It can be with your department leader. It can be anywhere. It can be even as an apprentice who is working with a boss. How do you deal with your boss's expectations? You'll find out that I'm sure a lot of us here can relate. Maybe you have been asked to do something. Your manager or your boss said, I want you to do something for me. And you go all the length and you do what you think you can do well. You have burnt the midnight candle. You have spent sleepless nights doing the work. Maybe if it's a report, maybe if it's any project. And you come back to your boss, and what you get is not what you expected. Right? How many of you can relate? And the person begins to tell you all kinds of nasty things. Imagine that it's a Monday morning. The man or woman has to appear before the board and has depended on you to deliver a report. And you came back only on Monday morning. Maybe let's imagine that the meeting is supposed to start at, say, 11 o'clock. And at 8 o'clock, you came back to meet your boss and say, here is the report. And the man goes wild. I'm sure a lot of us can relate with that. And sometimes you are frustrated. I say, what is all this problem? I didn't sleep on Friday night. I didn't sleep on Saturday night. I even couldn't go for a family function on Saturday. Only for me to have done all of these and come back and get insult early morning on Monday. You feel somehow. Your morale is low. You feel disappointed. But the truth of the matter is that you're not going to find favor before that boss who is already angry at your work. And until you fix it, you will continue to have problem with that boss. So, how do you deal with situations like that? How do you deal with it? The first thing you need to understand is that there are expectations. And if those expectations are not met, you have not done anything yet. I'll give you an example. If you ask a tailor to sew a dress for you, and you give a specification, this is the kind of dress I want you to sew for me, and the tailor comes back and gives you something that is not what you expected, you feel bad, yes or no? No matter how expensive that dress is, sometimes you even feel like throwing it away. Is that not so? You feel terribly bad. What kind of work is this? It's not even fitting. It's not sitting well. It's not doing this. It's not doing that. It's because expectations were not met. And you remember that in some instances you will say, but I told you that day. I told you to measure the hand like this. I told you to measure this like. You start saying, I told you. But it's too late. The job has been done. there's nothing to be done at that time. One of the first things to do is clarify expectations. Now, whatever I'm going to tell you here today is not exhaustive. There are so many things that you might need to do, and the dynamics can also change because human beings are different situations, different scenarios. But I'll just speak, because of our time, to a few things that I have here. Clarify the expectations. So, somebody has asked you to do a task. Don't just walk away. Ask questions. How do you want it? It's just like a common saying. They say when somebody tells you to jump, you ask how high. Is that not so? You are asking questions. Ask questions. Get that person to explain to you how he or she wants the job to be done. You know, let me give another example. There was a time I wanted to sew a pair of trousers, and I warned the tailor that I gave that material to. You know, there are some materials they use for pockets that after a while, if you put your hand inside of it or put your items inside, they will start dropping off. How many men can relate with that? And I warned him, don't use that kind of material for my trouser. That's setting clarity about what I want. So if you go and bring something else, then I won't pay you for that. So you need to ask your boss, how do you want it? How many, for example, if it's maybe a presentation, how many pages max? Do you want pictures? Do you want charts? Do you want it in You need to understand what your boss wants. Some bosses like charts. Some don't like charts. Some bosses like pictures. Some don't like pictures. For some other people, it may just be a video you put there and it makes the day. But you need to know what that person really wants. And don't say, because I worked with Mr. A yesterday, my former boss, and you expect to do the same thing with Mr. B, your new boss. It doesn't work. So you need to set expectations clear. Be clear about what the expectations are from the word go. I share a very funny story that I like to share about my personal experience. Several years ago, I was asked to do something in the office by a big man in that sense. Short, the gap between me and the man is wide. He didn't tell his two direct reports. He came to me to ask me to do the job. The moment he gave me that task, I knew there was trouble. You know, there are some bosses that are very finicky. Then, to add insult upon injury, my colleague started telling me, you don't enter trouble. You can't please that man. Have you heard bosses like that? They say you can't please that man. Why you take that job? As if I should reject it. Boy, God will help you. Especially when your immediate bosses are telling you, Edward, God will just help you. Then you know, and truly, let me tell you, within 2 days, I had fever. Yes. So I just believe that it's God that helped me, really. So I went to his PA, and I said to him, your God gave me work to do. I don't know how to go about it. He laughed. He said, he's not a difficult man. But everybody says he's a difficult man. He said, sit down. I sat down. He said I should bring my biro and a paper. I brought it. He said, do like this, do like this. You know, that's the PA who's been working with him, who knows his expectations. He said, do like this, do like this, do like this, do like this. So when you are finished doing it, send it as an email to him and say, sir, that project you asked me to work on, this is how I want to go about it. These are the timelines of delivering each part of the task. Are you okay with it? Does it meet your expectation? He said, when you send it to him, he said, typically of him, he will call you and say, come. Then he will explain what is in his mind to you. He will now tell you, no, 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 don't do this one. I don't like this one. Okay, do this one, but this one you want to do it like this. Add A, B, C, D, E to it. And that was what I did. In short, to even send the email, I had to call somebody to say, let's lay hands. To tell you how difficult the man was. And we sent the email. And just like the PA said, the man called me. But that call was not a call of comfort, kind of. When I entered his office, I entered with myself and I was like, oh, you don't enter around today. He said, sit down. I sat down. He said, I saw the email you sent. He said, let's talk. Then he started explaining to me the things I should do, the things I shouldn't do, and how I needed to go about it. I finished that task without one single problem with that man. Why? Because I was able to find how to work with him, understand his expectations, and set timelines. You know, there are sometimes, you see, and it's not the fault of these bosses sometimes. They are very busy people. A boss will just call you and say, hey, come. Shegun, come here. Hey, I need you to do this, da. Okay. And he moves to the next person. You are the one that we should go and get clarity from him. And when he tells you things like that, some of us will just walk away. Maybe in the man's mind, he needs it in the next 1 hour. And in your own mind, because it is about 3 o'clock and you think by 4 o'clock you should close, you just walk home and you don't know you're going to get into trouble with that person. So it's always good to clarify expectations. Number 2 is to communicate transparently about whatever challenges that you might be having in the course of trying to deliver on that job. You know, a lot of us, we have work to be done, but we have challenges in getting that job done, but we don't go back and say it. We just go and do it anyhow. Imagine you ask a carpenter to do something for you, and there's a particular specification, and the guy could not find that thing in the market. And he didn't come back to you to even ask and say whether I should go on or not. He now decided on his own to use another kind of material to do the job. How would you feel? That's exactly what we do sometimes. We have challenges, we don't go back. We don't say it. We wait until the last minute and get into trouble. And sometimes because the nature of your job might be that it is dependent on some other functions for you to do what you have to do. So the earlier you explain, you communicate what the challenges are up front. Don't wait till the dying minute. You know, I learned something, and a lot of the things I learned in the course of my career were in the hard way anyway. And that's why I tell young people, get mentors. You don't have to go through that same process. You know, for in some organizations where you have meetings, maybe on a weekly basis, and there are action points from a particular week, you know what we do typically? Maybe they tell you, they say, you do this, and come back to us. What most people will do is that they will wait till the next Monday to come and give feedback. And not feedback that they have done the job. They will now say, last week, IT people were having downtime, so I couldn't do the job. That's not what you should come and tell the team or your boss by the following week on a Monday morning. Like they say, that Monday. And you expect your guy to, it won't happen. So if you have challenges in the course of the week, you should communicate. Perhaps the man might even help you. Let me share a very simple example too. And everybody was tired. And I called her on phone. I said, it's been a busy day. She said, yes. I said, but I think I need to call you back into a meeting so that we can examine something. I said, it's about the task you give to me, blah, 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 blah. I've done some parts, but I wanted you to see something. She said, okay, call me. And I invited her into a Teams meeting. And by the time we got there, I projected what I was working on. And I said, I foresee this. She said, oh, Just leave it. Just leave it. We'll work with what we have. Imagine I didn't do that. I will go on stressing myself. Then at the end of the day, I will deliver. Then I will get into trouble. That's what a lot of us do. You get into unnecessary troubles that you shouldn't get into in the first instance. Because you don't clarify on the expectations in the first instance. The third thing is seek feedback. Seek feedback. In the course of my career, when I go and write interviews, and a lot of us, we have this experience, they will tell you, sorry, you didn't get the job. Try next time. How many of you have gotten that kind of feedback before? Okay. Or sometimes they will say, we will get back to you, and they never get back to you. So one time I did one interview, and I didn't hear anything. Then I went to HR myself, and I said, I sat for an interview some time ago. I didn't get a feedback. I don't know what has happened, what is going on. Oh, they said somebody got the job, and the person has started the job. I said, okay, what did I do wrong? You know what most people will do is that they don't like me. They don't want to take me. We just go away with some biases. And the HR lady looked at me and said, wow. He said, sit down, I will tell you this. He said, a lot of people don't do this, but I'll do this for you. He said, this is what you did. This is what you did. You did this right, you did this right, you did it right. But one thing you didn't do right. That was just one thing that cost me that job. So what did I do? The moment I got to know that, I went to use it to develop myself. And guess what? In less than about 6 months or so, a similar job came, and I got it. Imagine if I didn't do that. I would be on a serial going for interviews and not getting the job and never knowing what the problem really is. So get feedback from your boss. Whether the job is done well or is not done well, get feedback. So if you do a job and you deliver and they say, well done, beautiful job, don't just feel happy and walk away. What makes it beautiful? What did I do well that I should improve on? And where are the areas that there are little weaknesses that I should also work on? Don't just go and sit back and feel like you have arrived. You have not arrived. So get feedback and work on the feedback. Work on your weaknesses. Work on your weaknesses. Improve on them. Don't just sit back and expect that things will always go right. And if you get clarity for one job today and it goes well, don't think that tomorrow you don't need to get clarity for the next job. You must always get clarity for every task. There are times, one of the things I've also observed with a lot of people is that you are given a task, and if you had really asked questions, getting that job done may not take you, say, 2 hours to get it done. But you find out that a lot of people will spend days doing what does not matter just because of lack of seeking clarity. And finally, pray. So it's not in all situations some of these things may happen. See, I'll tell you typically what happens to me sometimes. There are days I wake up, maybe let me use example of Monday morning. There are days on Monday morning, you're going to the office, and by 7 a.m., one email has already dropped, and that email is a trigger that there's going to be trouble that day. How many of you have experienced that before? What do you want to do in that situation? In short, your face alone that you appear in the office you can begin to collect. I see an email and I know, and it's not because it's your fault too. Maybe some people have messed up some things over the last week. But you know that day is going to be fire for fire. I won't enter that office like that too. I will pray. I will pray. And it has worked. I will just find a corner and go and speak in tongues. I will find a corner and go and declare words. And somehow, I will go into that meeting and everywhere will be calm. Everywhere will be calm. So pray. Don't just take things for granted. Don't say because I have sought for clarity, I'm fine. I've gotten feedback, I'm fine. You might need to pray sometimes. You know, the Bible says that God will deliver us from unreasonable men. There are people who have done all these things, they still get into trouble with their bosses. Unreasonable men. That's why you need to pray. Finally, let's read Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4 to 6. Sometimes a lot of us think that when we work, or we work for people, work for organizations, you think you are doing it for them and nothing. But I just want to point you to something here. It says, servants, obey your boss. Obey your boss. It said, respect him with all your heart and try to please him as you would Christ. At your boss in the office, respect him. Obey him as you would obey Christ. He says, obey not when he is looking at you, as if you were pleasing a man. He said, but obey as the servant of Christ and do with all your heart what God wants you to do. That job you are doing, did you not pray about it before you get it? Some of you prayed about the job. God, give me a job. You got the job now. You have forgotten biblical principles. Then he says, walk gladly. Walk what? Gladly. As if you were working for the Lord and not for man. Don't go to the work environment and do it as if you are working for a man. You are working for the Lord. You are playing your part. Work gladly. God bless you in Jesus' name.